everyone, and we are about to reach to the end of this course. So, last two more lectures we are having, and this is part 1 of about the plagiarism, which has become in recent years a very important topic or very important subject related with all kinds of research and publications. So, first we will look through the what is plagiarism and how to avoid, what are the tools available and other things. So, if we would like, if want to define what is plagiarism, then plagiarism is an act of fraud, as it involves copying, borrowing or stealing someone else's work and presenting as your own. And if you look this definition, it is a fraud and is a very serious, I would say, crime, and in some countries internationally also it is considered as a crime. Or otherwise we can also have a very simple definition that plagiarism is use of someone else's work or ideas without giving them proper credit. As we have been discussing in the previous lecture when we were discussing about the references, there I mentioned that if you have used anybody's reference and you must cite in within the body of the text and also provide in the list of references. Bibliography is something different, but if it is possible to provide bibliography, always try, so that you are mentioning that those are the references which I have gone through, but directly they have not been cited in my work or in manuscript or thesis or reports or whatever. So, therefore, it is very, very important that if I am using somebody work or publications, then I must give credit to them, or if maybe a single person or a group or organization. Now, according to the Oxford Dictionary, this plagiarism can also be defined like practice of taking someone else's work or ideas and passing them as one's own. So, basically if you do not give credit to others and use those work or data or plots or map or whatever, then you are claiming that you have done that work. And whereas in earlier time the origin of this word plagiarism is from the plagiarus or plagiarus, meaning kidnapper or plunderer. So, it is a really serious thing. We hear a lot about plagiarism, and many people because of plagiarism, or many manuscripts because of plagiarism have been withdrawn by the journals, and it is happening all over the world, including some authors of India, their papers have also been withdrawn by the journal. So, a research has been conducted which has revealed that about 30% of pages that have been created have duplicate content. You see, one third is duplicate content, and there is no problem. If we give the credit, then it is not considered under the plagiarism. So, what is the problem of, if we give the credit, we saves ourselves from this fraud, and we give credit to whoever has done the work. So, plagiarism involves using words, ideas, information, data from a source without citing it correctly. So, our responsibility is not only the citation, but we should also provide the detail from where you have got this. So, the details will come of course in the list of references. So, therefore, the citing it correctly within the body of the text and all details in the list of references is very much required nowadays. We will see that how it can be checked by using certain softwares and then other thing. But before that we would like to discuss that plagiarism also involves using another person's design, art or music. Like in paintings and other things, it is many times people say that this is the painting from Picasso and other things, but later on it is found that it is all copy of that one. So, that also is being considered under the plagiarism or copying or cheating. So, therefore, it is always required that one should do it. And if I have used somebody's work which has not come, I can also acknowledge that I have got the permission and I am acknowledging that one. So, there are various ways of giving credits, but whatever the things which you are using of others, you must give credit accordingly, whether in form of citation and list of references or maybe in the acknowledgement. Better I would suggest that always give as in form of citation within the body of the text and list of references. Now, plagiarism has almost certainly been with us since dawn of language and art. So, it is not a new phenomena. Why I said that recently it has become very important? Because now there are softwares, very smart softwares, which can check that whatever the sentences which you have taken or idea or data you have taken from other sources, then they will check that these softwares will check and find out that you have taken this data from somewhere else, or this idea from there, or the whole paragraph you have copied from somewhere else. So therefore, recently therefore it has become very, very important. If you submit a manuscript to any journal, reputed journal, either from the journal's end, or you have to provide a certificate that it has got only 10 or 15% plagiarism, because that much can be allowed. Like if you would, when you submit a dissertation or a PhD thesis, again you have to take that certificate about plagiarism, that how much things are getting there. Because sometimes these softwares, though they are smart enough, but sometimes you frame a sentence and that sentence might have been framed by others in their publication. So then it also highlights that this is a copy of that previous publication, but you might not have even seen that publication, may not be relevant of your field at all, but still it may come. So for very simple language sentences or other things, it is all right, but if you are copying idea, data or processes or figures, design, maps, definitely one should provide the credit. So as said, that as long as there have been words to repeat and art of copying, it stands to reason someone was doing so. Another reason of plagiarism, because of this cut and paste, people are intend to follow the shortcuts and they just copy from others' publication. But it is fine if you copy a certain idea, certain sentence, certain paragraph, no problem, but give the citation. So that basically you are declaring that these lines are not mine, this idea is not mine, this idea of this person whose details are given in the list of references, and the name or surname or surnames of surname of many have already been included in the citation. If you do not do it, that means you are taking credit for the work of others, and of course it is a kind of crime. So the word plagiarism comes from the Latin word kidnapper, or is considered. So why this I have repeating here, because see, this is important term, kidnapper, it is a serious thing. So one should always avoid, be careful about that, and this is also a breach of honesty. Many people have been in academic domain or elsewhere have been punished because of plagiarism. Their papers, publications have been withdrawn, and they went to a very turmoil career. So it is always take it very seriously and follow whatever the regulations, check through whatever the softwares available and do it. Because as we have discussed that plagiarism can take many forms, from deliberate cheating to accidentally copying, or may not, as I have mentioned earlier, that you might not have seen that publication, but your phrasing of sentences is quite close to the work which has already been published. So in a normal English language it is fine. Somebody says that I have done the field work in Himalaya of Western Himalaya. Now this kind of sentence might have been used earlier, but the software will highlight. So you can ignore that part, because no one can claim that their idea or they are the there. But if I am using the figure, data or a idea of someone else, then it is a serious thing. As I said that in academic writing this is very important, and which involves any use of these words, ideas of others, you fall in this trap of plagiarism. So there are many different things are there. One should always try to give credit to others if at all you have used this thing. As discussed just few seconds back, that now we are in a digital domain, and digital world, it has become rather easy, or we intend to copy and paste. While doing this thing we forget to give the acknowledgement, and that becomes a problem. Even I would say that if you are taking material and using in your PowerPoint presentations, you should give credit or the source of information, as you can see here, that is also appearing, so that whoever would like to see that what was the original material, they can visit that site and can see, or a reference can be given. So generally it is in PowerPoint presentation, this is the best way of acknowledging others' work or giving credit to others. Now another thing is that these internet, you know that they have exploded, or these sites or portals have exploded. When it started in 1995 or around that period, there were 23,500 websites, and now we are talking about in 2020. So it is not the latest data, 3 years back data. So it is 1.7 billion, and lot of information on internet is also copied from other sources. So while taking the material from other sources or from portals, one has to be very, very careful. Otherwise they might have copied and they have not given credit, or they have not cited. Now you have taken that material, so you come in the trap of plagiarism. So it is always better to give the source of information, from where, which portal you have taken that information, and then you save yourself from this charges of plagiarism. So internet is also, indirectly, I would say, promoting plagiarism, but at the same time the digital world is also allowing us to check for any copying or plagiarism. So both things are happening. So this technology is a intent, or they become interested to copy and paste, but at the same time detection of plagiarism is also becoming easier. So like as mentioned that there are internet tools are available, softwares are available. For example, Turnitin, a very popular software which is internet based plagiarism detecting software. So once you have prepared a manuscript before the submission to a journal, you just submit this to the Turnitin. It will let you know that which are the sentences, which are the ideas or data or figure you have copied or you have not given source. So that stage under the draft condition or before the submission, if you add or give the citation, you will not fall in this act of plagiarism. Now what is going to happen in future? Because currently we know that the plagiarism is a rapidly developing topic for discussion, and that is why under this technical communication we are going to discuss in 2 videos about plagiarism, both from a technology standpoint of view and from ethical one point of view, and honesty of an individual or group of people or organization. So we know that the new technologies create new forms of expression, but at the same time they also allow us to do these things, or some people may go for increasing tensions about what the rules should be. So basically very simple, how to avoid plagiarism best, whatever the idea, topic, paragraph, figure, anything you have taken from others publications, other portals, just give the credit and you will not fall in that trap. So there are different ways to describe various types of plagiarism, and all are serious violation of academic honesty, and some type of plagiarism will fall in the category of crime also. So 2 basic types, first is common types, another one is the 10 types. So we will see that what is the common type of plagiarism is. First is the direct plagiarism. You have just copied and pasted in your paper, manuscript, dissertation, that is bad. Self plagiarism, this is another issue, that I am quoting my own word or own papers which was published few years back or last year, and I am quoting that one, and or doing cut and paste but not giving credit to ourselves, because thinking that this is my own work, so no question will come. So that kind of plagiarism is called self plagiarism. And then mosaic plagiarism, which will also, and accidental plagiarism, but it is very challenging once you are suppose somebody has complained. Now it is very difficult to prove that you never intended, but this is accidental plagiarism. So you would definitely be charged of direct plagiarism like this. So let us see what direct plagiarism, which is word transcription of a section of someone else's work without attributing or without giving any credit. So if you quote somebody else's work, give the credit, give the citation, then you will not fall in the direct plagiarism case. Deliberate copying of someone else's work in unethical academic dishonesty or grounds of disciplinary actions including expulsion. And as I said that many people been punished because of plagiarism cases against them, and they might claim that it is accidental, but it is very hard to prove that it was accidental. So you fall in the category of direct plagiarism. Self-plagiarism, as very briefly mentioned, that self-plagiarism occurs when a student submits his or her own previous work, or a faculty mixes parts of previous work without permission from all involved. Yes, this is another thing in self-plagiarism. This is another angle, that suppose I have published a paper in which 3 people were there. Now I am using that work again, and without giving any credit to all those 3 people or without citation. New work has got different group of people. So, that will also call on this category of self-plagiarism. So, for example, it would be unacceptable to incorporate part of a dissertation submitted by a student in previous years. If you want to include that work, there is no problem. You give the citation, in the list of references provide all details of that thing, and in the last before full stop you can write unpublished. So, then one would know that you have taken this idea or data or whatever from previous work, though that is not published. So, you will again not fall in this self-plagiarism or overall plagiarism case. Self-plagiarism also applies to submitting the same place of the work for assignments in different classes without permission, or different publications without permission. This is again very common thing is happening, but people do not bother about in that sense, that there are several sites, portals where you can get the PowerPoint presentations and you just copy and claim as yours. So, that is also will fall under this. Now, the third type of common types of plagiarism is the mosaic plagiarism. Occurs when someone borrows phrases from a source without using quotation marks, or find synonyms for the author's language while keeping to the same general structure and meaning of the original. So, you are just changing few words using different synonym, and that is again not good. So, sometimes called patch writing, or this kind of paraphrasing where international or not academically dishonest and punishable even if you footnote your source. So, it is always good to give the citation. Now, accidental plagiarism, as I have mentioned, it is very difficult to prove that it has not been done, but sometimes the person was never intended, but accidentally it has occurred. So, accidental plagiarism occurs when a person neglects to cite their sources. Sometimes you are reading someone paper, you are including certain things from that paper and thought that I will give the citation little later, and you forget. So, that will also come under this accidental plagiarism. Or you might misquote the sources, or unintentionally paraphrases a source of by using similar words, group of words, or the sentences structure without attribution. Attribution here meaning is the citation, without giving proper citation, that will come under this accidental plagiarism. So, if one starts taking care about putting proper citation, correct citation and in giving in the list of references, then even you can avoid accidental plagiarism also. See why overall this technical communication course and especially these 2 lectures are important, because whenever somebody is exposed first time to this domain, research domain or publication and that thing, at that time the person does not know. For example, students, they do not know what is plagiarism, how to check, what and how I can avoid all those things. So, that is the main purpose of these 2 lectures, is to let the students should also know. They should learn how to cite their sources and take care about the others' work, give the credit and also do the proper ethical work. If you have taken someone else's work, you must give credit. Repeatedly I am saying this sentence. So, cases of accidental plagiarism are taken as seriously as other plagiarism and are subject to the same range of consequences as other types of plagiarism. It falls in the same category, and it is very difficult to prove that it is done accidentally. In some places, some countries, plagiarism not a crime, but it can be punished in the court. So, punished may not be jail, but your paper might be withdrawn, you may be demoted, or you may be removed from the services. So, that is also a punishment. Plagiarism is considered an infringement of copyrights similar to fraud. Now, this is another big issue is there, copyrights, and whenever you are taking a figure, using somebody's figure in some other journals, then this issue will come. So, we have to take permission from the publisher that I am going to use this figure which has been published in your journal. Please allow me to do it, and that permission you will attach with your submission, and then you would be safe from plagiarism. As while discussing the definition of plagiarism, we said that it is a fraud, so it is illegal, it is infringement of an author's intellectual property right. So, this is another thing, IPR, intellectual property right, very important. Patents and other things are based on that, including copyright, trademark, all those things are there. So, plagiarism is a violation of academic norms and is unethical, and it damage one's scholarly image. This is very, very important. If somebody has proved that you have done the plagiarism, and whatever the research, science or teaching, whatever you have done so far, you really gets the damage to your image, and it is a damage to your professionalism, and not only to you, but your department, organization, even to the country. So, it is always better to take care about these things. So, now we are coming to end of this first part of plagiarism discussion, that plagiarism can be punished in court for prejudice caused by the copyright infringement, violation of moral rights, offences, and other things are there. So, with this I thank you all. Namaskar.